Hello everyone, welcome to our latest trip video. I try to do a video every time Amanda and I go on a trip that I deem interesting and think you might want to check out. This time Amanda and I went with her family down to Florida to Disney, which was a great experience, even though it was cut short. I'll talk about that later, and we'll be going back eventually, but it was kind of a first time for me. Amanda's family, they've been going forever, and I don't even know how many times. Her mom's probably been there like 30 times at least, but so that's kind of their like family thing to do, and it was an interesting way of doing it as well. As we went down in the RV. For me, I had only been to Disney in California once when I was a little kid, and Florida I had only been there once for like an afternoon to Epcot. That's about it. So it was mostly a brand new experience for me, and I was really looking forward to it, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a different experience getting down there too, because we went in their giant RV, their drivable apartment. And for me, the longest I think I've ever even been in a car at one time is like 5 hours. So it was a big change for me, the long 2-day road trip, because growing up, a big long family trip was a plane trip for me, usually going to like Germany or something, but typically didn't go more than like maybe 2 hours away by car. So that was different. It was cool being in the RV and stopping at the campsites along the way, so that was a fun part of the experience there and back. And we then continued that experience by staying in Fort Wilderness in Disney. We were in the 100 Loop. Her parents stayed in their RV, and then we had a rented one, the Winter Soldier model, which we'll give a quick look at here. And I'll also be doing a few separate videos with some a little bit longer looks at a few things that I'll kind of go through a little more quickly in this video. And I liked being where we were in the 100 Loop, just 2 spots away from one of the main paths, because we were really close to, like, walk out our back door, and we still had a lot of tree coverage, so it's still private, but we were 30-40 feet away from the trading post, and we had P&Js, and you had the boat that could take you then to Magic Kingdom right there, and you could walk by the water, which is also nice. And they had their dog with them as well, so taking her for a walk. So it was a really cool experience, and I liked that much more than being in a hotel, having that sort of camping vibe. I always really enjoyed camping as a kid, so that was a better feel than a hotel feel for me. I preferred that, and being able to walk around, being around the trees, and going around in the golf carts, going looping and stuff. I mean, that whole experience was, I think, so much better than just staying in even one of the more opulent hotels, which were really cool, which we did see. I'll go and show a few images here. We went one afternoon. We went to downtown Disney. We also got on the monorail. I did some hotel hopping. I didn't get to everything, but went to some really pretty ones. I really like the Grand Floridian. That's like more my style. Amanda does not like it. It's definitely not her style, but for me, I really liked that one. And our first day at the parks, we went to Hollywood Studios, formerly MGM, which is how I still kind of think of it. From my Disney knowledge is old stuff from the 80s and 90s, and like family videos from Amanda's family and that kind of stuff. But so we went to Hollywood Studios, and that was a lot of fun. It's sad the Great Movie Ride is gone. That's something that would be really up my alley, and I would have loved. But there's still some really good stuff there. Also, some old school things like the Muppet show, which I've always loved the Muppets, just anything Jim Henson in general, so that was a lot of fun. And one of the other cool things was going around to see the all these Star Wars stuff that they had out, and just the amount of detail and crazy expense going into that. It was really cool just to be able to walk through and see all that in general. That was really, really cool. It would later be surpassed in another thing we saw, but to me, I was like, wow, I was already like, this is super, super cool and fun to walk around in. And we also got to go on the Rise of the Resistance ride, and we got there early and didn't have to wait very long, and it was already kind of an interesting, once it got closer to the ride, the line itself had a lot of cool details and fun things to look at, so it didn't feel very long, and that was a really fun ride. And it was a lot more than I was expecting going in. It was a very, opulent experience. There was so much put into it. It looks really, really cool. And then we did classics like Star Tours. And we got to see the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, which I really enjoyed because I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones and I like a lot of behind-the-scenes movie type stuff. So having something with that theme was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. So that was a really good day, and one of the highlights was the Tower of Terror, because it is Twilight Zone themed, and I'm a huge fan of the Twilight Zone, just something that's always been a favorite of mine. I'd never been on the ride, so that was a really cool experience to be able to do that, at least, once in my life, to be able to get on that ride. And it's funny, in the picture that we have here, I feel like I'm the only person on there who didn't realize that when the camera shot was going to be taken, because I'm just like sitting there completely like straight, not looking at anything, just kind of sitting there, and everyone else is going crazy. That was fun too, because we're a lot of like really funny people on that ride, screaming things, and that was part of the fun. Is when you get a ride next to more interesting people, it's always fun. And we got to walk through Toy Story Land, go on a ride there, do all kinds of stuff. So it was really a full day, but it didn't even take all day. We were home not long after lunchtime because we just happened to be getting on everything fairly quickly. Really wasn't that much of a crazy long wait for much of anything. That was really, really good. Then the next park we went to, we were going to go to 4 parks, only made it to 2, but the next one we went to, I actually preferred, because I loved Hollywood Studios, but I really like zoos and I like nature, and I just I love that kind of vibe and feel. So I like the environment of the animal kingdom. I really just enjoyed that, and I liked going on the safari. I just really enjoy all that kind of stuff. And then as far as the more Disney-fied movie tie-in things, we did the the Bugs Life show that was there, and that was okay. That was probably my least favorite of the things that we explored.
Feet long, though some of the biggest on record are closer to 20 feet long. And crocodiles, they are different from alligators. Zebras, based on their stripes, almost like a barcode. But that concept. Also on the right over here, laying down, it's a herd of wildebeest. Actually, a descendant of the Nicole cattle. Now, a fun fact about those horns there, they are attached to their sinuses. They're hollow, have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside. So if that cow gets a cold or feels a little bit stuffy, they can tilt their head to the side and that mucus will run into their horn. Which sounds kind of view. We'll keep weaving around to get closer there. But they are the largest land animal. When fully grown, they're anywhere.
But I just like all the nature elements, and that's just a fun environment to be in for me, and I like that, and the Tree of Life, the dinosaur ride that we went on, that was a lot of fun as well. The thing that stole the whole show for me, though, was Pandora, was the Avatar, segment that was there. That just was the highlight of the entire trip for me. Because it was incredible the amount of work that was, and imagination that was put into that. More than anything else, it was spectacular to see. Love or hate the movie itself, there are issues with it, but visually it's quite an experience, and that element was in the forefront here and really brought to life. And even just looking around and a lot of the experience, it also reminded me a lot of a section of Mira. Wanted to go home and plug in my Wii U after we were there. It's like, oh man, closest I'll ever get to flying a mech through here, as we did the Flight of Passage ride. There were two Avatar things. There's the short water ride, which had really cool visuals and one of the best animatronics I've ever seen. But it was a little on the short side, and the line what felt like more of like a traditional, like Hershey Park, that type of line. It wasn't as creative, and as some of the other lines. Disney is really good in most cases of, you're waiting in line for half hour, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, but there's a lot of themed things to see along the way, and it twists and winds in a way that it keeps you entertained enough that it doesn't feel quite that long. This was the one line that we waited in that kind of had just that general theme park feel and made it feel longer, and then the ride was shorter, so it was cool visually, but not quite as good as the main ride, which just waiting in that line, I think we only waited like an hour. I think at the time said it was going to be 2 hours, but it was only a little over an hour that we were in line, and it didn't even feel like it because there was so much. From just the few images and things that I have here, just a tiny taste of what you went through just walking through the environment and then going indoors and getting this cool kind of cave environment, and then it's more of a nighttime feel, and then you're more in the facility with all those visuals to explore. A lot of cool theming, and then the ride itself, not the kind of thing I was going to have a camera on. There's some little bit of footage out there, some teasers and things for the ride, but the feel of it, that was my favorite ride that I've ever been on anywhere at any time. It is my all-time favorite ride. I will get on that right away. I'd wait in line for that again immediately. That was the coolest ride I've ever been on. It really felt like flying through the world. It was amazing. It was the most immersive ride I've ever been on. It just felt spectacular. It was a perfect experience, and yeah, just great. I really, really enjoyed that. And at the end here, again, I'll put a few more like images and things. I'll do a few separate videos with a little bit of a longer look at a few of the more interesting things that we saw, but it's kind of where I have to leave it because we were going to then go to Epcot and the Magic Kingdom, leaving sort of the big traditional park for the end. The Magic Kingdom, that's, when I think of Disney, it's the first thing to think of. But Hurricane Nicole was coming through, and we got a knock on the door the one night while we were eating dinner, and we had to evacuate by the next afternoon. And immediately we saw people even that night just kind of scrambling to get out, and so we were going to be evacuated to a hotel, and we weren't going to be able to get to the other parks, and it was kind of ridiculous to go through this insane thing that would have taken a day of your time just to go through, and then just stay and hang out in a hotel room. It was kind of ridiculous, so we ended up leaving 3 days early and missing the second half of the parks, the ones that we were going to spend even more time with there. So kind of the two bigger of the experiences, so cut a little more than half short overall, but for what we were able to do, at least it was a great experience. And we'll be hopefully next fall going and doing the two parks that we missed, so we won't miss them out entirely, just kind of a delay. Just kind of disappointing at the time to have those cut out and things cut short, but overall it was still a really fun trip, and I definitely liked the going back and forth and stopping overnight at the RV parks and that kind of thing. Just made it something a little different for me, something I had not experienced before, and it was great to be able to go there with people that I like spending time with and being in these fun environments and fun parks and places that I had never really seen before. And we were going in November, so it wasn't quite as insane as it could have been. Still, it's even crazy that storm, I think they said, is the second or third in 300 years to be a category 1 or higher in the month of November. Like, it's unusual. Then I'd actually lived not that far from Disney and Winter Park right after high school for a little while, and it's like, oh man, I don't remember there being this here, because I was there in November, and that was just kind of a bummer to get that ended. But overall, still a really fun, cool trip. Hope you like checking this out, and again, there's going to be some more stuff to look at if you're curious, and definitely check out any of the stuff with that Avatar. That was just the coolest experience, like really the highlight, and something that I did not expect to be the highlight of the amusement parks.